Hey, YouTube, let's do this.
Back to nature, climbing higher. Woods are thick, hiking alone. Hear a tree crack, loud as gunfire. Stops you cold, chill to the bone. Hear the growling, turn to howling. Something's prowling just out of sight. Beast in the night. Beast in the night. The forest has fallen silent. The mountain's dark. The moon is full. Catch the black shape of a giant, 8 feet tall, unbelievable. Your heart is pounding, huge steps are bounding. Your hope is drowning in the fading light. Beast in the night. Beast in the night. Oh, hell yeah. Run for your life. Step it up. Your fear is growing. Red eyes are glowing. You might die knowing those folks were right. Beast in the night. Beast in the night. Beast in the
And hey, everybody, welcome to Squatch Talk. I'm Pat. How's everybody doing tonight? Thanks for being here, each and every single one of you. There I am. So the lighting's going to be weird. You need to look at my mug or cool sunset and me in silhouette. I think, like, yeah, I'll take that. I look like a 12-year-old girl silhouette. Okay, that's not cool, man. What's going on, man? How's everybody doing? What's going on? What's going on in the Bigfoot world? A lot and nothing all at the same time. Is that a contradiction? Maybe. Maybe not. A lot of nothing. I mean, is it a lot of something? Meat and potatoes? I don't know. Like, I'm not seeing it. Just the same old, right? Um, let's see. No, I do have something to lead with. So I'll lead, and then we'll just see where it goes and see who's around. We can get an interesting discussion going. That's cool. Down here on the peninsula, and there's nobody around to bother me. Just me and all all this, all this. So 6 years. I think you meant to say 60, Raptor. I don't think you meant to type six. I'm just gonna call it and say, "Oh man, my computer's being weird." Uh, yeah, that's right, Sandra. What's up? I hear an echo? Huh? No. Why would I hear an echo in my headphones? I have no idea. I think Raptor meant to say 60 years. I put a notice on the coalition that you are. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I sort of decided to do this on the fly. I did like earlier when I was in the mountains. I did like I wanted to do a little live stream, like kind of showing off the area, even though the signal wasn't good. I said, I might do a show later, and then I thought about it and said, I'm gonna do a show. So it's half on the fly. So it's all good. I don't care. You know, if 50 people show up, cool. If 15 people show up, um, uh, all right. Well, then that's cool too. And see, I called it. Raptor was. I'm like six. I'm like that number makes no sense. Like what what would be different between 6 and 7 years ago? So Raptor did misclick. And again, thanks, Mary. Uh, so again, um, I didn't share it anywhere. I don't even know what that does. It certainly I think it helps if you like at least create the damn show hours, hours before you do it. um that certainly helps, but when it's like, hey, I'm gonna go live in half an hour, you know, it either kind of catches on or it doesn't. But Saturday nights of late, between like my channel, like I think Jeff's channel, we did a show set. Yeah, we did. Yes, Jeff's channel we did, and then Nikki, did we do us? Did Nikki do a Saturday? I don't know. Whatever. It's like just seems like a good night to do shows that like not a lot of people are occupying that space. So I think there's an audience there for it. Like whatever audience I'm tapped into. Not I'm not tapped into the million plus Bigfoot potential audience, that's for sure. But that's okay. I'm not trying to be. If I were, I'd be telling the stories and going along with the narratives and making my, I don't know, $100 a month doing it. It's like, screw that. So I like where I'm at in the Bigfoot world, and I can walk out the door anytime I want, or I can put it down. I can put it down and walk away. Um, is kind of what I mean to say when instead of like stringing everybody along, like, hey, I'm almost out of here. Like, don't let the door slam shut on the way out, or hit your ass on the way out, or whatever. Right? It's not that. It's just I can put it down whenever I want and come back to it whenever I want. And I've kind of been doing that with my show for the past almost 2 years. Um, but here I am with you fine people. And here we are. Let's talk Squatch. So we had a pretty fun and cool show on Nikki's channel that I did. I did like I broadcast it live on my channel too. That's cool. I like that feature. I was telling them, I was like, "Hey, this is superpower. Let's use it." Um, I don't know. I don't think they. I don't think anybody quite understood exactly what I was saying. But anyway, um, we had a good show on Nikki's channel. Um, it kind of wandered off a couple of times, but it was relevant. The bullet points that Nikki came up with were all valid, in some way, contextually, and so it was good. And we discussed them all, and good people on there, all that good stuff. Um, that being said, um, I actually never really got to say what I wanted to about the subject of why can't we find Bigfoot. Um, so I'll just say it now that it really only boils down to two things. There, you can see the optical. I got a little bunny rabbit thing going on here. Um, two things, um, which each sort of have two parts to them, um, and that is like why can't we find Bigfoot? Is well, so the first thing that we're dealing with the undiscovered primate, that would have to be rare and elusive, and there's not a lot of people looking for them. So like that combination of things fits into reality. Like, wow, there could be a undiscovered primate that is bipedal and is like this thing that's different, where like it fills this gap between us and chimpanzees, right? It's more like us, something we've never really seen before in modern time, like, or in hundreds of thousands of years, not millions of years. Um, and so why can't we find that? Because there's not a lot of them. Could be dying out. Oh, there's the geese. Where are they at? They're low. They're low on the water. They're like over. God, the backward shit. They're over here, very low on the water. Um, so there's not a lot of them, and there's not a lot of people looking for them. And the part that we touched on, and that involves that, is the remoteness. We talked about the remoteness, um, that they would have to be in these remote areas that are not like, they're not people populated areas. Um, so that's why can't we find an undiscovered primate? That's why they're extremely rare, probably dying out. I mean, I don't see them on the right end of the viable population theory. I don't see them on the good end of that. I see them on the bad end. So not a lot of them. They're in extremely, like, the most remote areas that are the furthest away from people, and there's not a lot of people actually looking for them. And that handful of people, I'm just going to say 200 out of 400 million people in North America. There's 200 people looking for the most rare fucking creature on this planet. Why we can't find them? Because those two those two specific things will never ever cross paths. 200 people looking for the most rare and elusive creature that is living among 400 million ish other human beings in North America. That's why. It's that simple. Or there's simply something we don't understand. There's something else going on that we don't understand it, and it's unexplained. There's just an unexplained reason why, or what they are is unexplained. It's unknown, it's unexplained, and that's where that story ends. There's nothing more to say about that. That doesn't that doesn't involve one's imagination to try and like fill that void of unexplained with something, which is a supreme contradiction. The unexplained is never anything more than the unexplained until something comes along to explain it, until an explanation is found. And we don't have an explanation for Bigfoot. We have a comfortable niche theory of undiscovered primate because that's kind of what it looks like. I mean, that's what Patty looks like, you know? Like she's not moonwalking away, right? She has boobs. Like that's all. That's it's au naturel, right? Maybe it's a guy in a suit. I don't know. Um, so, so those are really the only two reasons, and we danced around those two reasons, and we touched on them, but that's it. There's nothing in the middle. There's not a viable third reason that I can come up with. It's just simply that it's either an undiscovered primate, which again, the parameters of that would simply have to be one thing and one thing only, that they're rare and elusive and they're in truly remote areas. So they don't just tramps around areas, even rural areas where hundreds of thousands of people live in, say, 4 or 5 counties. That's not a thing. Um, and so, like, that very strong would have to be thing, just that alone destroys most of the narrative that you hear. Um, so if we're dealing with the undiscovered primate, that's why there is no serious effort to find them. Basically, um, I think even with technology, they'd be hard to find. It would take time. It's doable. There's no way they could escape it with the right effort, the true like a true effort from our species. Um, there's no way they could escape it, but how long it would actually take, I'm not sure. Um, I'm not sure. Um, but I can tell you this: the last place I would deploy that technology is like Janice Carter's farm, because I already know that that's just bullshit. Like that's she's got problems and it shows. So so again, the realities of, well, why can't we find Bigfoot? Mm, you know, um, it's certainly not an undiscovered primate that you're talking about every time you know you have some kind of get together in the woods and people got something to say about it. Like, there's no way you're dealing with an undiscovered primate. It's virtually impossible. And what I mean by virtually impossible is it's impossible. There is no so you're saying there's a chance? No, not really. Um, it's just lawyer talk covering my ass. Um, yeah, I'm getting like Saturday night messages here. Just so you guys know. Um, and lots of them. So so that's it. Those are the two reasons, you know. Um, if Bigfooters are actually going out in the woods, and I know I'm sounding like a broken record. I wish somebody would disagree with me vehemently and come on and have this discussion and try to actually articulate and explain to me how they can just go in the woods and Bigfoot's just right over there 150 yards away. Like, how did that happen? Ugh, if they're not an undiscovered primate, then I and these people are telling the truth, and all these activity experiences are real, then I'm sorry, you're conjuring them up. Stop doing that. Is that really something you want to do? I can't. It's fun right now. Um, you're conjuring them up. They're some kind of magical being that we don't understand, and you're literally fucking like casting spells in the woods, and they're responding to it. Um, if that's a thing, stop doing it, please. Like, stop. I don't think that's what's happening though. Um, but still, it's either Bigfoot in the brain or you're conjuring them up. So take a damn position. Um, I'm doing a show. Just have to explain everything all the time to everyone in this world. So, um, yeah, good question, Raptor. I mean, I think that does happen some. Man, my fucking mouse is not working with the shit. Um, what part of the United States is, well, forget United States. We're talking about North America. Um, so United States, Canada, Alaska, um, and all that good stuff, right? What part? Wet, forested areas with some kind of vertical terrain that are remote, relatively remote. And there's plenty of areas like that in North America. Um, I think it was Mary. Yeah, it's Mary she was in chat earlier. She might still be here. She probably is. Um, and she can correct me if I'm wrong. But it was Mary that pointed out earlier in Coalition that, and she even used why haven't we found Bigfoot? That it would take one person, uh, like 5 million hours or something to explore every every square foot of North America if you excluded all the urban areas and the large river systems. Yeah. So what? Yeah, yeah, Mary. Like whatever. It was something outrageous. It was like 1,000 lifetimes or something like that. Something ridiculous. Um, and so like there's plenty of area that exists where people actually don't go. 5 billion hours. Thank you. Which again equates to way more than your lifetime times at least 1,000. Um, and so that's just one person. Like I said earlier, I don't know. I would say that there's maybe 200 people who, what's the qualification there? Like that go out into the woods actively looking for Bigfoot or Bigfoot evidence. Maybe let's just say, let's just even say 4 times a year or more. There's maybe 200 people in North America that meet that qualification. And I'm not even sure that that's the case because even if I got everybody on here right now, all like 5 or 6 people, everybody on right now to start naming names that we know, people that meet that qualification. I think we'd start running out of names at about 30 people. And so I think I'm being generous by saying 200, you know. And no, going on a camping trip and hoping to get Bigfoot activity doesn't count, you know. I'm talking about the researchers. It's maybe 200 of them. And what do? They go to public campgrounds to look for Bigfoot, where thousands of other people have been throughout the year. And somehow Bigfoot comes around, from where and why? That answer's never given. I mean, what good does it do to knock on a fucking tree at your campground, at your little Bigfoot get togethering? What good does it do to knock on a tree or even yell whoop as loud as you possibly can? Because nothing's going to hear it past 200 yards, and that's being generous. So they would already have to be there. Is the point? They're already there if if they respond to your wood knock or your whoop. Which again, this is the narrative. This is the stuff people say. Well, then they're already there. You didn't call them in from miles away, which that would also be an equally amazing coincidence that if they were even 3 miles away from where you decided to camp that night, you know, you shouldn't be within 50 miles of any of these things. Um, but you're not going to call if they're 3 miles away, then you're on two different planets. If they're half a mile away, you're on two different planets. Wood knocks don't mean shit. Wood knocks don't travel half a mile in the woods. Uh, you'd have a hard time hearing a gunshot in certain 50-50. You would even hear a gunshot at half a mile. You could, but maybe not. I guess it's likely at half a mile in the woods, but so we're talking about gunshot, dude. That's loud, right? A really, really loud motorcycle, like a badass crotch rocket, a 200-mile-an-hour crotch rocket through the woods, half a mile. You would hear it, but it wouldn't be loud. So your little wood knock doesn't go any further than 200 yards, if that. So again, how is this a thing? Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is sort of the whole point. I mean, it is social. It's a people thing. So the Bigfoot phenomena, which I consider to be real, and people don't seem to not understand that I do actually can still consider the Bigfoot phenomena real and unexplained. Like, take it out of all this white noise and put it over here because it's that tiny compared to this white noise, which is nothing but a people thing. That's all it is. It's just a people thing. Bigfoot's never involved or almost never. You know, again, I'm excluding. I'm taking out the wow, this phenomena I don't understand. I'm removing it from the white noise. Then the white noise becomes 100% people, and like knocks, 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 whoops, whoops, whoops. Bigfoot's on my property. Like just all like it's every level of really, really dumb to eye rolling. Don't think so. Like I'm not buying it. And honestly and objectively, and I see it every day. I could easily randomly pull up an example, and I might do that. Yeah. Thanks, Mary. I appreciate it. Like you're really cool and smart. You're way smarter than me. I don't know why I'm talking like PD, but sometimes I talk like PD. I guess I should do this if I'm going to talk like PD. Well, hey, what's up? It's me. I'm here to talk to you guys because I'm I'm via the internet. I'm on remote. Couldn't be there with Pat on the opposite side of the lake because I chase deer. And he doesn't want to chase me, chase a deer in the dark. So Now I could just talk to you like this, and the PD voice makes more sense. It's don't have to go into PD voice, Pat, all the time. Yeah, hey, what's up? Yeah, what's up? We're here. There's some few people watching. I don't see any of the players. I don't see any of the Bigfoot boys. Where are you at, Bigfoot boys? I got the spotlight up in the air for Bigfoot talk with Bigfoot boys. Haha. All right, Pete. All right, you get out of here. Get Pete. Get out of here. Ooh, look at that. That's it's fiery. Yeah, it's fiery shit, which means it's gonna be dark, dark, and Bigfoot might show up like right over there, man. Mm. So yeah, that's what I got. That's my lead. I wanted to just kind of like break that down to its lowest common denominator. Like I said, we had a good show. We talked about a lot of like deeper aspects of all the individual sort of things on Nikki's show there. Um, we touched on a lot of minutia, and that was great. I enjoyed it. It was a good show, but I think it could be boiled down to those two things of why. And I don't see anything in the middle. I don't see anything. I don't see a third option. Well, the third option is they ain't there. You know, I guess. Like I guess that's the old fallback third option is like, well, they're just not there and they never were. Sorry, you know. So that is the third option. But I'm gonna stick to my opinion that the Bigfoot phenomena is real. Therefore, why can't we find them or solve it? It's pretty much those two things, man. It's just simply unexplained and probably will be forever. Um, or there's a dying breed of undiscovered primates that are just there's too few of them in too remote of places where people actually aren't and people aren't looking, and perhaps so few of them that even with technology that I talk about, it still might be incredibly difficult to find them. Because I mean, the power of the drone is so much more powerful than boots on the ground. But basically, what I'm saying is that boots on the ground, it amounts to a big zero anyway. You know, because again, the handful of people looking for them, the odds of them actually being anywhere near one of these things that would have to be rare and elusive is just it's virtual zero chance. So forget boots on the ground. It doesn't work mathematically. And people have been doing it for 60 years with no results. And I know there are some who would disagree with that. I'm sorry, but again, talking isn't a result. A story isn't a result. Um, there's just no evidence. Nobody's ever brought conclusive evidence to the table. And I don't think that's not going to change with the boots on the ground guys, because clearly they're just out there to have fun and be on a sexy adventure and kind of look cool doing it. That's sort of my whole take, or they're a part of the entertainment industry. That's what boots on the ground is, even with people that I know, you know. So, I mean, I'm not excluding anybody from that. Um, it's all the same shit. Yeah, and I mean, dude, I hate to beat Jeff over the head with the great example stick But he just quintessentially is. Um, which either makes him like extremely clever and manipulative, which I don't think is the case. Um, or that's just the way that played out. And Jeff is as an adult, it's like he can weigh that shit out in his head. Like this crazy thing happened to me. I'm just saying. But I'm an adventure outdoorsman, not really looking for Bigfoot, although he's flirted with that, of course. But Jeff legitimately does these cool fucking wildlife adventure things. Um, and so he's in a perfect position to say, man, I saw it that one time. It was random. I wasn't looking for it. And I'm keeping my eye out these days. Never again. I mean, that's worthy of putting in a documentary, like a real fucking documentary. Not some stupid Bigfoot documentary. Like when I say that, I mean the subject matter would be Bigfoot, but done in a way that's not your typical Bigfoot documentary. That scenario is worth filming and being on camera the whole story, not just the Bigfoot part. I'm not trying to say the Bigfoot story is worth putting in there. You would have to touch on it, but just the fact that Jeff's life story and he has the opinions that he does now, he's in a very special, unique place, and I really like that. I think that's an asset to the truth. It's a huge asset to the truth. Um, and the way that he's been like talking about that lately, it's been like just music to my freaking ears. All right, mhm, music to my ears. But there's not. I mean, that kind of thing is super rare. It's very rare. Yeah, man. It's again. I just so that statement, and there's a lot of people that are gonna go along those lines, and I just don't. I don't find that to be relevant at all. And look, Brian Chewy, like again, don't take this personally, okay? But the statement is what it is, and it reflects a lot of Bigfooter, okay, thinking. So anybody that wants to go out in the woods looking for Bigfoot or evidence of it reflects that, and which is this hope. Like, don't take away my hope, man. Again, don't be the guy killing the music at the party because I feel like when I speak these truths, and some of them are so very obvious truths, again, math doesn't lie, you know, I've definitely become the guy killing the music at the party to the point of like really, really harsh personal attack sometimes. But the whole idea of you're not going to see one if you don't go out, that's not true. I don't find that to be an accurate statement. A lot of people go out in the woods. 60 okay, 60 million people a year in North America participate in some kind of outdoor hiking adventure. 60 million people in the wood a year. 80 no, it's more than that. There's 150 million hits to national parks in the national parks. I believe it's either 140 or 150. 140 to 150 million visitors to national forests every year, and 60 million people that participate in outdoor hiking activities every year. And That's the only way that these two things are going to cross paths is with those numbers, not some Bigfooter. You might as well stay home. Like, if you think that you can just go out in the woods and find the most rare and elusive creature on the planet, would be the most amazing biological discovery in human history, if any one single person in the Bigfoot world thinks that they're capable of doing that, I want your Powerball numbers for next week. Pick some Powerball numbers. I'm playing them because the odds you're going to win the Powerball before that ever happens. So, yeah, you might as well stay at home because it's the same thing. Go out in the woods, man. Have fun. Forget about Bigfoot. That's my advice to you. So, you shouldn't get your hopes up. If you ever see one of these things, Brian, they're magical beings. They're magical beings, man. Or whatever. You conjured it up. Again, don't do that. Don't conjure them up. Because you don't know what you're fucking conjuring up. Um so again, man, don't take that personally. It's just that's reality, bro. And again, and also I understand the fun of it all. I understand why the Bigfooters, the boots on the ground researcher types or researchers themselves, I understand why they do it. It's because it's fun. It's adventurous. It feels special. There's camaraderie. I get all of that. And because I participated in it. Like, you guys remember, dude, I've been doing this for about 10 years, you know. So I've had my own evolution through this journey of trying to gain knowledge of what simply started as why the hell are people seeing 8 foot tall monkey man in the world's woods, and what the hell is this in this PG film? And so I've participated on levels and I've gone through different evolutions of thinking and feeling a certain way about Bigfoot. So I come from a place where I completely understand all those factors. It's fun, adventurous, it's social, there's camaraderie. The conferences, like they, people get a lot out of that with those elements, the social camaraderie elements, and of course being in the woods, these get-togethers, same thing. It's social, it's camaraderie. You know, you're invited, Pat, but don't kill the music. Okay, fine. I'm cool with the social and camaraderie. You know, because that's fun. I get it. You know, like I could use some of that in my life too sometimes. And I get that out of you know, I tap into that with other things, not Bigfoot related. Um, so I mean, I just have to fucking hammer this point because I'm sorry, it's just a straight math point. You can't win if you don't play, right? So that, right. So that's true, but it's still a zero sum game as an individual. So if we're gonna like if you want to make the lottery analogy, I'll say this, you know, like, are you gonna win the lottery next week? That's why I said that about the Powerball. Are you specifically, can you take one person in this world and pick them to win the lottery is to say that you can predict they're gonna win the lottery? No, you can't. And it's no different than you picking your own numbers and playing the lottery. You're not gonna win because the odds are so stacked against you that you picking a person to win the lottery is even more less. There's less odds than picking the goddamn numbers yourself. Yes, people win the lottery because there's 60 million people playing. And so eventually somebody's going to win. Again, the statistical probabilities add up. But if I said, if I said I pick Raptor Crazy to win the Powerball, you think Raptor Crazy is going to be a millionaire next week? No, he's not. I mean, again, the statistical probabilities between one person that you pick to win the lottery versus the probabilities that 60 to 80 million people play the lottery every week. That's why people win, is because the math adds up. But none of us know what person's going to win the lottery. Otherwise, basically, what you're saying is you could snap your fingers and become a millionaire. So the math doesn't add up, and it doesn't add up with Bigfoot. Now, when I say lottery, I'm talking about the main lottery, like the big lotteries, the multi, $100 million lotteries, the $80 million, like Powerball, not a scratch off ticket or the smaller lotteries. The probabilities of winning them are much greater. Yes, people win the lottery, but you can never pick who's going to win. Your odds are better at picking numbers that are going to win before you pick a person that's going to win. Does that make sense? It should. you know. Otherwise, you're saying, "Oh no, I can pick the person that's going to win," which basically means that you can snap your fingers and become a millionaire. So all you have to do is play their numbers. So that'll never happen, and it's just like looking for Bigfoot. You're just not. The odds are so stacked against you. I mean, at this point, I think they're stacked against me. Even if I could take 5 pilots and go cover let's just say 25 square mile area in one night, I think the odds are stacked against me, and that's like 10,000 times more powerful than anything boots on the ground. Um, at this point, like I think the odds would really be stacked against me. I think it would take even though the odds are better, it would still take a pretty strong effort to find them. Um, but if there were 1,000 pilots looking, you know, then again, your odds go up. Um, but yeah, I understand math pretty good, and I'm really good with probabilities and percentages, and I could visualize all that stuff pretty well. Um, yeah, I mean, Roger and Bob, right? So what happened with Roger and Bob? Roger was obsessed. Okay, fair enough. It was 1967, different time, probably a different population of Bigfoot. Okay, or let's just say could be, right? So let's theorize here. How could that happen? So tell it to Roger. Tell it to Roger's ghost. Right. 1967, almost 60 years ago. A remote area, reports of Bigfoot and Bigfoot tracks. Roger settled on that area to go. And his main reason for going was to look for evidence. So he wanted to find tracks. Like that was his main reason. And he took the camera, and of course he'd always had it in the back of his mind that no matter what, to be ready with that camera just in case he ever saw one. And yes, if the PG film is real, and now we also have to throw that assumption in, is, if it's real. And I'm not saying it's not. I think you guys know how I feel about that. Um, so what happened with Roger and Bob, they were out there on horseback for a week and a half looking for evidence in 1967, and bam, preparation met opportunity. If Patty's real, then that did happen. Preparation did meet opportunity. And it hasn't happened again in 60 years, almost 60 years. The technology's only gotten better. There's only been more people looking for Bigfoot, with some of which with the same like fervor that Roger had. So tell that to Roger's ghost. Preparation met opportunity if that film is real. But it hasn't happened again since. Yeah, man. I mean, and I appreciate the honesty. Let's let's always be honest. Like honesty's an important thing when talking about this subject. And I mean, why would Bluff Creek mean anything anymore? Like Patty's probably long dead if she's a monkey woman thing. Um she's probably long dead. Um I just don't like what does Bluff Creek mean today? I don't think it should be the mecca of everything Bigfoot, but it should be an interesting place that is kept like located, and so that people want to go there and you know experience that. Cool, but I don't see any reason why there would be any Bigfoot around there. You know, um, what was the other thought I had? Is that it slips my mind. It'll come back to me. I mean, again, the whole thing is why can't we find them? I boiled it down to two really two good reasons that are inarguable. And the third one being they simply ain't there, you know. And whatever happened to the credible people that you may believe, and for good reason believe, again, that's just unexplained. Like, I don't know. I don't have an explanation, which could mean a trillion different things because you don't see it. You don't see the explanation. You don't, it's not there, right? Mm. So one 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 potential filmed observation in 60 years is while it may fall into that's an amazing probability, it also shows you, I mean, that's a long time for there to only be one filmed observation. It, it it's on my side of the probabilities. It's on my side of the argument. Yeah, and I mean, perhaps you did. I'm not. I'm not to say otherwise, but it's interesting that a lot of people that we meet and that we interact with, um, why is it the vast majority of that, if not the entire pool, it's from a long time ago. Like, it's not from last year. It's not within the past 10 years. Although, like, well, there's a couple examples I can give of that with like Joe and Jay Birch. So both those happened, I believe, within the past 10 years. Um, but it just seems like the vast majority is all this stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, maybe 90s, but I can't even think of one example of anybody that I know and trust who had an encounter in the 90s. Um, just saying. But yeah, um, an anecdote will just never lead anywhere. Um, as compelling as some of those stories are, it where does it go? It's just a story. Not to diminish the people telling the story. But I'm very careful to like really know, like, as far as encounter stories go, like, I'm very guarded. I'm very, very guarded because I've heard like too much BS, like on the podcast. It's just, to me, obviously BS. At some point it becomes obvious. And also to know that there's just kooky people about, and they'll say anything. Like, kooky people will say anything. Ugh. Hmm. Where's now I can't see anything. It's like this is shining in my face. Pat fail. Hey, man, it's my show. Um, but yeah, that's the main thing I got. Um, because these things, they do run through my head. Um, you know, because I ride a lot, and I don't have a modern like Bluetooth helmet, and it's just I'm whenever I'm riding, I'm just stuck. I'm stuck with my own thoughts, whatever they are, and the Bigfoot stuff comes in a lot on our show. Yep. Um, so I still get these kind of moments of like wanting to throw something out there or address something specific. Um, I just, I hope to see a continuing change in the discussion and how people approach the subject and are willing to talk about it, in a public way. Um, I gotta say, because this was kind of grinding my gears a little bit. just a little bit, is is that I heard Project Zoobook get brought up on a podcast from the other night, and I'm like, what? Like that's got to be a nothing burger. Um, it may feel important. People might feel like they're part of some secret club with big names in it sometimes and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, what do you talk about? You ever talk about this? You ever talk about anything like I've talked about here tonight? Does that ever get brought up? I'd like to attend that meeting. I was supposed to once, and the rug got pulled out from under me last minute. I'm sure because somebody said, "Oh, that guy, no." Well, what's the point of having a, a healthy discussion if all voices are not welcome to the table? What's the point? You know. So that just makes me think it's just the same, probably the same dumb shit gets said there that gets said everywhere else, and I don't think there's actually anything going on there that a non Bigfoot scientist would find all that interesting or compelling. Um, I didn't say that. That's not what I said. I don't believe when it comes to Bigfoot. I don't believe anything. I have no belief in anything one way or the other. Belief is never in play. But that's not what I said. Not at all. I mean, all I said was that if Bigfoot is not an undiscovered primate, and is simply something that we don't understand, then clearly Bigfooters are. If Bigfooters are telling the truth about these experiences, they must be conjuring them up. That's like that's just a logical conclusion. It doesn't have anything to do with belief. I look. I don't know what these things are. I don't know what happened to Jeff. He could have had a powerful hallucination. And yes, even with the getting hit, so powerful that somehow it resulted in physical injury. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying that's what happened to him. I'm just saying maybe there's something going on with our nervous system and our brains that like somebody can just have something like that happen to them and we don't understand it, you know? And so therefore there really is no what we would call Bigfoot, you know. Um the mind is a weird thing in that way. I've had experiences that I've had full-blown hallucinations without any substances to, trigger them. And yeah, it's a weird experience. But at the end of the day, I've been able to explain all of them. Every weird fucking thing that's ever happened in my life, and there's some weird shit. Things disappearing into thin air right in front of my eyes. I've been able to explain all of it. I actually got to the bottom of what happened, and you know, it's like because I'm curious. I don't have a desire for the supernatural to exist. I don't have a desire for this to be real or that to be real or I only desire the truth. And god dang it. And that's a pretty simple thing, man. That's it's not some high horse to be on. The truth matters. I I, I think that's like a generally fair statement, you know? I mean, sure, we lie to kids about Santa Claus. There's always some example, but the truth matters. It really does. Yeah, nobody has good proof. I mean, I'm just gonna say no one has proof, like, because there is none. Like, and so the somebody has proof and they're sitting on it. mm, That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, and what kind of proof are we talking? Like, people in the Bigfoot world love to split hairs over what evidence means and what proof means. It's a very lawyer-like discussion, ironically. Um, I mean, you know, if Bigfoot's coming around, they're gonna, if you're really around Bigfoot and the numbers that the Bigfooters say they're around Bigfoot, and I mean, I'm sorry, there's just a wealth of biological evidence left behind, and so there would be your proof eh, right there. The area, the hot spot that you always go to, like, would be a hot bed of evidence. Again, that's just reality. That's how things work. And yeah, Raptor, you gotta be careful how you frame things sometimes. For whatever reason, dude, you rub some of them the wrong way, and whatever, that gets me into trouble sometimes, and it's like, I don't know. So So yeah, do we want to know the truth? Do we want to go on a journey of knowledge, or a journey of sexy Indiana Jones adventure fun time, Bigfoot Funhouse? Because those two things don't go together. you know, the Bigfoot Funhouse is 180 from any kind of like serious inquiry of journey of knowledge. And that, again, that's reality. Just the way the world works, man. It's just the way people work. So what do we want? What do you want? Whoever you are, whatever your place in this whole subject is, just figure out what's your goal. Like, I mean, I guess if your goal is to see one, then yeah, of course, you're going to go out in the woods, and you're always going to go look in areas where you think they might be, because you're just like dying to see one. Of course, I get that. Again, sorry to kill your music. I'll turn it right back up. Enjoy. I apologize. You know, like, I'm not trying to tell people what to do. I'm just trying to bring a more responsible conversation to the table. I really am. Even if I'm failing, I'm sitting here telling you right now, pure honesty out of my fucking heart and soul. I'm trying to bring a more responsible conversation to the table, because I don't see responsible conversations happening for the most part in the Bigfoot world. All I see is the entertainment factor, the ego factor, the hoaxing, the lying, the misidentification. Like, it's just so prevalent in my observations. And again, you know, if I'm the sucker in the room, fine. But I don't think I am. Pretty sure I'm not because I could spot the suckers. If you could spot the sucker in the room, you're not the sucker. I'm also not the smartest guy in the room. I'm never the smartest guy in the room. I'll, I'll never angle for that ever. And yeah, thanks, Danny. I'm trying to be thought provoking. That's kind of always been my goal. When I started Squatch Talk, it was in the thought provoking genre, the thought provoking method. I could have started an encounter show, but I chose not to. You know, and I mean, I loved Chronicles. Like I binged back then when I started Squatch Talk, dude. I was binging Chronicles. I was like waiting for that new episode to drop on Friday. You know, like I loved Chronicles. I loved listening to it. So you would have thought that would have made me, go, hey, I'm gonna fucking try this too. But I quickly dismissed it, you know, and when Ernie and I were talking about it, we wanted to do something more engaging, more thought provoking, you know, and so that's how it was born, and that's what it's stuck to, and it's evolved, But that principle is there to be thought provoking, because to me that's the responsible thing to do with the subject, which should be taken a lot more seriously than it is. Um, yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that. I'll say that. Way more than anything I could sit here and do tonight. Right. Yeah, that's so true. Very valid point. You know, I agree. I mean, if even 20 of the right professionals in the scientific community woke up tomorrow and decided, hey, let's take this Bigfoot thing seriously, it would be what Mary's saying, not the opposite. It would be work, like truly objective work. So, um, yeah, Raptor. Look, you make valid points. I I'm not saying you don't make valid points, and I've had your back more than once, so it's all good. Just be cool in how you say it, man. Don't be too accusatory. That's the thing that really gets people bumped, man. It's like if it comes off accusatory. Anyway, um, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. It was cool. Had fun coming out here and talking to you guys and getting some shit off my chest that is, again, just swarming through my head as I'm like riding around on the motorcycle, just stuck in my own thoughts. Um, so um, we'll do it again. We'll get some more people involved and really bounce shit around. Come up with some new angles, because we have a lot of good thinkers We have a lot of good thinkers, and so yeah, I'm just gonna stick to the Bigfoot boys thing, and maybe we'll go with that and see what happens. But um, thanks for being here. I appreciate you all, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up and do a late dinner and head back to the mountains tomorrow. So I'll try and get some good maybe some more cool mountain stuff. Um let's see, man. I'm gonna play this one. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, because it's mountainy. This is kind of sort of mountain stuff here. Yeah, had fun in the mountains today. I'll be back there in about 10 hours and it'll be fun. Thanks for being here. And I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. And we'll talk some more in the future. See you next time. Bye.